little bit of both.
A little bit of both. I do a little bit of both.
Hey, I know.
But my specialty is behavior.
We got a new friend, I know.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I was reading over your form. Some reactivity issues, you guys have made a lot of progress. Did training back in 2023.
Yep.
You've had 2 instances of lunging at a person you thought was like barrier aggression. Person coming into the home, I think, was like a realtor.
Yep.
And then person behind the fence. Is that all correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, it was like we were sitting at a patio, and she was kind of like eye level with the guy when he walked by.
Okay.
And she was being really cute. And then he like went to pet her, and she like jumped at him, and we put her in the car after that.
Makes sense. So go ahead and fill me in, like, you know, your little journey, I guess, with Luna here.
Yeah. So we got her rescue in April of 2022. Yeah. And she was like pretty dominant when we first got her. Like she was doing puppy stuff. Like she was like demand barking at us and like kind of hurting us and biting us like a little bit. So we took her to training and we got her fixed, which was great. Sit.
Fixed by like spayed?
Yeah. Yep. Which was fantastic. It like basically cured that overnight, which was wild. Mm-hmm. And then she, like when we first got her, everything from like dumpsters, like we think she was in a crate mostly or in just like a very small area because literally everything was new and scary. Like you name it, couldn't handle it.
Super high prey drive.
Very high prey drive. And so we went and we took her to the obedience school and the guy trained like military dogs. And she was older than most puppies would be when you send them to training. So that was also kind of hard because she's like a little bit more, I don't know, not as young. And so we had to kind of unwind some stuff that she knows.
Oh, sure, like break habits or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
So then we just moved here a month ago and we had a nice big yard where we lived. I would take her on like 4-mile walks every other day or so. She pulls on the leash, but she's like, since we've moved here, like fantastic on the leash. She's like actually really easy to be with. Our biggest concerns are she is really social. She had some buddies at home that she could play with, and now she doesn't have any buddies. So we want to give her some playmates, but we want to do it, you know, safely and responsibly because she is reactive and she doesn't. Most of the time, if she's like off leash and a dog comes up, she's like, I don't really care for you, and just walks away. But I don't know. We just want to make sure we're doing the right things for her.
Okay.
And then any help we can get on just like, I think more positive experience and exposure to dogs, even on leash and stuff, I think that'll all help her just continue to mellow out and be safer.
Okay. I think in the it said like leash reactive and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So are you seeing any of that here in the city?
Yeah. She's just in
Mostly
general.
dogs.
It's with dogs mostly. Randomly, it'll be like somebody's luggage or you know what I mean, like
someone
something
with a hood and sunglasses.
Yeah, that's a no fly for her.
Okay. And how long have you guys been in Chicago now?
A month.
A month. Okay.
Yeah, we moved in July.
What neighborhood?
Here.
Like
we're
in the Lincoln Park area.
Yep.
Or like,
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
We're right
Yeah,
here.
Fairly busy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And the time that you've been here in the month, how many times did you say on average? Like 20 times she's been reactive?
I mean, if we walk by another dog, she has a hard time dealing with that.
Okay.
Like she'll not necessarily go at the dog, but she'll puff up and is kind of clocked the dog and wants to go say hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we
So that's
basically
like
like
every time.
we
Okay.
just continue to watch her and then
With
you can
people,
army
maybe
crawl
like
over.
5 or 10 times. I don't 5 to 10 times.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's really like that's not less of an issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my opinion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mean the leash reactivity stuff?
With people.
With
With
people.
people. Oh, I see.
It's just the dogs, really.
Other than like the barrier aggression.
Yeah.
that you saw.
Correct.
Yeah.
How many, like, I'm assuming you have
Nope.
guests come over or you've had
Yeah.
guests
All
come
the
over in
time.
past?
All
Okay.
the time. We've had parties with like 40
Typically
people.
never a problem.
It was so weird the day that it happened with the realtor. And
Had she seen the realtor before?
yeah,
Yep.
When he came in, was he carrying a box?
Paper.
paper. And
A
she
lot of
hates the
paper?
mailman.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
were like, maybe that was it.
Yep.
Like the smell of paper coming through the door. And she's like, oh, I hate the mailman.
It's honestly possible.
Yeah.
Like, so when we get things that happen kind of randomly, right? Where it's like, I don't get it, Jesse. She met this person 20 times.
Yeah.
I go, well, then something was odd that 21st time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I go. So for example, I have another client that I worked with. They actually recently moved to Boston and had met the uncle several times, no problem.
Yeah.
And then one day, lunch with the uncle. So I was like, well, was he carrying something? I was like, yeah, he came in with a cooler of beer.
Yeah.
Like that. And
Right.
I was like, that's why.
Yeah.
I was like, did he ever come in with a cooler beer before? She goes, no, that was the first time. I'm like, I'm positive.
Yeah.
That's why that happened.
She had also gotten her vaccines that day and was just like
Out of it,
delirious
right?
anyway.
Yeah.
So
Is she stressed at the vet in general, or
No, she loves
Not
the vet.
really.
Fine?
I mean,
Yeah.
she's
Okay.
like stressed to be in a new spot and handled, but she has had all the vets that we go to are literally like, this is the cutest dog. She's so sweet. She's so well behaved. And I'm
Sure.
like, okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But I mean, like she's been going to the vet a lot. She's got like some skin stuff going on and stuff. And
Allergies.
yeah, and they stick their fingers in her mouth, like everywhere. And she just
Were they
tolerates
in the
it all.
room with you, or did they take her out back?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That one I would honestly attribute probably to the paper.
Yeah.
Or something like that. That
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Especially if she has issues with the mailman, which a lot of dogs do.
Yeah.
And then you said the other one, she was on the patio.
Yeah.
Person was walking by and they were eye level.
Yes.
And then they reached the petter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
To me.
Yep.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
she's like, I don't know you.
Yeah. Why
Right.
are you?
Like I would tell someone, like as a rule of thumb, like just don't touch a dog behind the fence.
Correct.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
you know.
approach a dog
Yeah.
unless
Even
you
if they
are
look friendly, I'm
told
like,
to.
don't,
But
Yeah.
she, I
don't
mean,
do it.
she
Exactly.
was like tail wagging, like very chill. And then he reached and it's just like instantly she puffed up and was like, don't come over here. And that
Yeah.
was something on us too. We've never had like guard dog breeds before. So we've done like a lot of research on like, well, we need to be better about like leading her and getting in front of her. So like even with that dog just walking by, I try to kind of like put my body between her and the other dog so that she doesn't need to feel like she's in charge of protecting us. Like, oh, mom's got it. She sees the
I
dog,
get what
you know?
you're saying. Yeah, for sure.
So it helps a lot.
So those two instances make sense to me, and you've not had other reactivity towards people?
No.
Not really, no.
Okay.
Just
yeah,
like-
I mean, she's been around elderly people.
She's
She
like
doesn't-
so sweet with
She
her
doesn't
mom.
love small kids because small kids also don't really know how to
Yeah.
approach the
Behave,
dog.
Yeah. I would say like sub 8.
And it's
stuff.
also like an eye level thing where she doesn't really know if you're playing or not.
Yeah, and they're
so
loud.
that's something we're concerned about as well.
Yeah.
Sure. Just being
Good
around
point.
little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's met, like, I take her out to the stable, and those kids, even if they're like 5, they're around animals constantly. So they're all like really good at being around her, and she could care less. Like, I got her the other day, she was sitting and she had 4 little girls like hugging her, and she was just like, this
Whatever.
is totally fine. But then, you know, my nephew comes over and she's like, what are you? Like,
Sure.
unsure what to do with you.
You met your
so.
nephew before?
Yeah.
In a home context or at the stable?
In home. Yeah, yep.
Ever at the stable?
Not at the stable, no.
Okay. Because that can be a part of it too. I mean, coming into the home typically is territorial behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, dogs and kids is a pretty common thing. It's because, like, for example, my dogs are 15 years old and we just had a son. Like, he's 13 months now.
Awesome.
Congrats.
You know, thank
That's
you.
awesome.
And you know, it's been because they've never been around kids.
Yeah.
You know, so that's
Yeah.
but they're seeing them mature and grow, so they're kind of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of boundaries or what have you. But it's much different if I were to have like a kid come over.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because they'd be like, we never
What
have
is
kids
this?
come over.
Yeah.
This is uncommon. So, and if she's used to the barn or stable setting, like that's kind of a comfort zone for her. Plus, it's not something that I would think she would see as her territory.
Right, it's not hers.
More neutral. I can understand why she'd be more accepting of like the interaction with kids. Plus, you said they're around animals a lot.
Yeah.
So you know, they
Like
most
she
likely
gets
know how
all
to behave.
excited and they literally, those little girls will just stand there and not look at her, just like you did when you walked up.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
cool.
That's
And just
a
like
big
walk
part of
away.
it.
I'm like, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's a big part of it because I have another case right now. It's a pit. They thought she was human aggressive, and I told them that she wasn't. It's just that people interact inappropriately with her, which
Yeah.
then triggers
Yes.
her reactivity.
Yep.
Yep.
Because it was last weekend where I crouched down and she walked into my space and she was sniffing me and she was relaxed and stuff.
Yeah.
And the owner was like paranoid.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's because I'm neutral.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not putting any social pressure on your dog.
Yeah.
I was like, so yes, there's things we expect the dog to be able to tolerate and accept. At the same time, you have to understand that our customs and the way
Yes.
that we
It's
think
different.
So
is
different.
very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's typically where things go south.
Yeah.
Because I have cases where the dog is legitimately, like my case after you, like they couldn't walk their dog, period, because it was lunging at dogs and people
Oh, gosh,
all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's a clear problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, in your case, your dog's like here,
Yeah.
like ignoring me or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So that tells me the dog is social, but if I come into their personal space or putting social pressure and they react, I'm like, well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a complete stranger.
Yep.
Just like I wouldn't want some random person coming up and like just touching me and like talking close to me.
Right.
I'm like, it's the same
Please leave me
thing.
alone.
Get out of here.
Exactly. So I try to explain to people in human terms, like, hey, like, you have to see the world the way they see it. And I put it in human context because they go, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the difference between like obedience and behavior.
Yep.
Behavior of like we address things, we correct things that we don't want. But at the same time, I educate my owners on like this would be incorrect in terms of interaction.
Yeah.
And yes, sometimes you have to tell the person, yes,
Please
you can pet
don't.
my dog, but
Yeah.
you can't do this, you can't do
Right.
this, you don't do this.
We just don't let people pet her.
You know, and that's perfectly fine too.
And we like, you know, elevators and stuff, I'll straight up just be like, can you get the next one? Like, I don't let people on with her because
Sure.
I just don't want to.
Yeah. No, you're
If
advocating.
it's just a person, it's fine. But if it's like a kid and a parent or another dog, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So
Leave it.
I'm assuming you did research the methods that I use, how I train, the tools I use,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I use e-collar, prong collar. Are you familiar with these tools at all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got an e-collar. I have that here with us.
Okay.
We use a choker sometimes.
Okay.
She's got kind of a rash right here right now because of whatever this situation is that we're trying to figure
So
out.
is she swollen there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just going with the martingale. It takes a little bit longer to get a result, obviously, but
Because I thought
it's
I was
there.
like, I have a chow mix, and then one time very early on, I had taken this dog off the street that like just started following my dogs, and I couldn't find the owner, who was a resource guarder, so he attacked my chow.
Oh.
And then I flipped her over. It didn't look like anything was wrong. And then like 2 days later, I just see what I see here.
Yeah.
And it was just like an abscess of pus or whatever.
They've tried to drain it. We have been on a journey. She's going to vet or med vet on the 3rd. All of her results are coming back like super clean and normal. And they have no idea, but like she's been lame, like can't walk, can't stand up. She's got these huge scabs on her elbows right now. That's this week's ailment.
Interesting.
Dietary, like she eats, drinks, she's fine, but she also has like this massive thing on her neck. So we're like, what
I was
the
like,
heck?
is she Sharpay mix or something?
No.
Because it was noticeable to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I don't know what's going
that's
on.
as of like the last couple weeks, this like huge thing right here.
Oh wow, so a lot going
So,
on right now.
yeah.
I got.
That's why we rescheduled last week because she like literally couldn't
Oh,
walk.
yeah, yeah.
And I was
I
like,
saw
this
that.
is, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, no
But
worries.
she's good enough now to, we've been exercising her and she's more back to herself. She's just got some rashes and irritation going on.
Okay. Now with the e-collar that you have, is that what you use with the military trainer?
No, he
No.
just used a martingale.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I use it for like hiking and at the barn and stuff like that.
When she's
And
off leash.
she's freaking
primarily.
awesome on it. Like I would, if I could, I would only ever walk her with the e-collar on, but I obviously keep her on a leash in the city.
Sure.
She heals, she comes, she loves to play fetch, so it's like nice to let her run. But so yeah, she's really well trained to that. And honestly, like we didn't have it one time and we put a headlamp around her neck. She thought it was an e-collar, and we were like, "This is great."
Yeah, that's funny.
It's she's an interesting one. I mean, like we both grew up with dogs. Jackie's a horse trainer, and so like we are familiar enough, and I think we've gotten her from like this stray, really scared pit bull to like paying attention to us, and I think have done a decent job. But it's just some of the dog stuff is just so
No,
hard.
I would say you've done a really good job because
baby.
you know I'm reading the consult, and I'm expecting to see a certain thing.
Yeah.
You know, and here, like honestly, I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So good job on that.
Thank you.
I actually just had another. She's not. I don't think she's a horse trainer, but she does ride horses, and she's got a Saint Bernard. You know.
Cute.
So
Yeah.
we were talking, and it's funny
Leave it.
because
Good girl.
her dog was attacking the boyfriend's dog, and they're trying to move. They're trying to live together. Okay, so I was like, yeah, that's gonna
Maybe
be
that's a
tough.
sign.
Divine intervention.
So, you know, so
That's so
I
unfortunate.
remember I brought her into group, and she was like you could see like she was just in shock that I
Yeah.
was bringing her and her dog into a group of dogs.
Yeah.
I was like, just walk in, and nothing happened. And then afterwards, you know, we're talking, and then she's like, yeah, you know, I work with horses, and I'm starting to realize like just like how much is
So
actually
similar.
related.
Yeah.
It's so
I was
similar.
like, yeah, the only difference is really we have a predatory animal versus a prey animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that might affect how you use pressure with either of the animals.
Right.
But I was like, just take that same confidence you use with riding horses,
Yeah.
or whatever, and
Lou.
apply it to like handling your dog. So
Yeah.
but there's been some how'd you say negative interactions where I told her like expect it. I always tell people expect things to go south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have to go south, and then you correct it, and then you move past it,
Yeah.
and then you go, oh wow, like I was able to
Yeah, it works.
recover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
She's had some interactions here where she's been like really reactive, like mostly the first week or so.
Makes sense.
But it's amazing, like even just now with all these dogs walking by, like we started as she gets more comfortable, we actually like pass closer and closer to other dogs and like that. So we're trying to actively like keep her around dogs so she doesn't isolate either, but we'll see.
It takes roughly about 2 to 4 weeks for a dog to acclimate to a new environment.
Yeah.
And you went from the opposite, right?
Yes.
Because you came from the suburbs to busy Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I even get clients that go from Chicago to the suburbs, and it's the same effect. They're like,
Really?
all of a sudden the dog's reactive, and I go, it's because you don't see as many people out.
Right.
So then the dog gets
Sure.
used to it slower,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden
Okay.
they see a dog out of nowhere, and then they see reactivity. I was like, yeah, because now it's an uncommon occurrence.
Yeah.
You know, so it can go either way. But yeah, that makes complete sense to me. But from what I can see here, like this is all relaxed. She's a little bit, I call it vigilant, right? Where she's kind of attentive to the environment.
Yeah.
And
She's
this
got that dog
year,
clocked.
like, this isn't actually even busy for Oz. Oz Park
Yeah.
is the busiest park in Chicago,
Yeah.
statistically speaking. I had a client whose daughter did the research for the parks, and they said that this one they did the research on is
I
the
believe
busiest
it.
park in
I bet.
Chicago.
Yeah.
So this is like a quarter of what Oz Park typically is,
Yeah.
just so you're aware.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
But all
typically
this-
avoid it.
Even if you look at her, like she's sitting on her haunches, right? She's on her side hip, which is super relaxed. Mouth is open, so she's in a passive state. A little bit of curiosity. So like all this to me is good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are your goals for the training? I'm assuming addressing obviously any residual reactivity.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the goal would be any residual reactivity and just like help getting us exposure to things. I think because we want to make sure she stays safe and doesn't get into trouble.
I would say
we are
also like confirming that we're doing the right things.
yeah, confirming
for
we're
the
doing the right
training
thing for
perspective.
sure. But also like just more exposure to help her settle, and then just tools for us to continue it because we know it's just you just have to keep chipping away at it.
Yeah.
And then like we want to have a family, so we also want just like more exposure around kids and whatever it is. So
The kids thing I wouldn't worry about because, like, let's say I've had clients whose dogs didn't like other people's kids, but loved their kids.
yeah.
Which is the most important thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It'd suck it'd be the opposite
Yes.
way, right? And a lot of it is coexistence.
Yeah.
So, like, people, you probably seen on social media, right, where they have their dog and their baby.
Yeah.
I hate those pictures.
Yeah.
I hate them so much.
Yeah.
Because the risk is so
So
high,
high.
and babies are so
Unnecessary,
fragile.
yeah.
Is I tell clients that dogs and children don't interact until the child can understand concepts of gentle,
Yeah.
slow, which is like probably around the 2 to 3 year mark.
Yeah.
Our son, I think
Nope.
in the past 2 weeks, we just barely started allowing him to give treats.
Yeah.
And he can only give treats to Luna, which is my wife's dog, and then Poncho, which is my Chihuahua, but not my Pit.
Yeah.
My Pit is not a gentle treat taker. So I was like, you're not going to give her treats.
Yeah.
But he'll hold out, and then Luna will very slowly and gently
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
the treat, which is why we
So
allow
nice.
it.
Yeah.
Always supervised,
Yeah.
because he's just 13 months.
Right.
No.
But there's no, and if there's petting, like it's very controlled or what have you, my wife's hand over his hand,
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
right? Because he
Together.
doesn't understand gentle at this
Sit.
point.
Oh, girl.
But the reason why I do this is, and you'll come to see this when the day comes, is we develop very slowly, right? You're immobile, and then around 6 to 9 months start crawling, and then around 12 months start barely standing and walking and stuff. Is that for the dog they get used to? Oh, you're immobile,
Yeah.
right? And then they become mobile by crawling, and they go, this is new, right?
Yeah.
So then they start. It happens a lot where the dog will start growling,
Yeah.
and people always freak out. I'm like, it's because the dog's unsure. They're like,
Right.
wait a minute, you were just like
This
not
isn't what
moving.
you do.
Yes. So now they got to get used to that, and then they go from crawling to like trying to walk, and it's very wobbly. So
Yeah.
then the dog starts growling again because they're like, I just got used to you crawling. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell everybody when you delay the interaction until 2 to 3 years
good
old,
context,
it
yeah.
allows them
Yeah.
to see them go through this process,
Yeah.
and by that point they can walk normally, and again have concept of gentle
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
I love that. Some of the research I've been doing too is exactly that. Like, don't introduce the baby when you walk in. Like, it's none of the dog's business.
Yeah.
Just keep
It's,
her.
it's a lot of boundaries. Like
Yeah.
the dogs weren't even allowed like 6 to 8 feet of our son
Yeah.
when he was
Yeah.
born. Because at least when I was growing up, I remember back like it was like dander and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like the baby breathing that stuff. Now I feel like it's not as big of a thing now because we have 3 dogs.
Yeah.
And our son didn't have any issues.
Yeah.
But that's another thing too, is I don't want the dog to learn that they can come into our son's space at any point.
Yeah.
Because if and this happens, they're toddlers and the dog comes up to lick them in the face, but then knocks them over
Yeah.
and then they hit their head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can become a concussion
Totally.
with a young child.
Yeah.
So
Love
even
that.
with the friendly dogs, I tell everybody, you can do what you want, but these are my recommendations because unfortunately, if something happens, there is no going back.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. And you always have my technical support too if you go forward with training. I've had clients from like 10 years ago still reach out with questions. And I'm like,
Nice.
yeah, here you go. Here's an answer. Sometimes there's fluke moments.
Yeah.
Where like, oh, my dog growled at someone, and this is the first time ever they growled at someone. I'm like, well, it's bound to happen sooner or later.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
they are
They are
if it
dogs.
starts doing it all the time, then now we may have a problem.
Yeah.
You know.
Lou. Oh.
So, but yeah, when it comes to our own children and stuff, that's actually easier
Come here,
because they're around each other all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lou.
But I can also help with like child interaction. But the thing with that is we need children.
No, that's
So
fair.
just heads up on that. I have my son, but he can only do so much.
What I do is I take her like pretty close to playscapes and stuff like that, and
that's
we
perfectly
just
fine.
like hang out near them so
Yeah.
she can hear the screaming and the running and the.
Yes, coexistence is socialization.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
did that with my previous client with the pit that I was talking about earlier.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
We're hunting
Is we were
bugs.
just- I had my dog, they had their dog, and we were just talking for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We did some exercises and stuff. I'm like, just so you know, this is also
Yeah.
socialization.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
any sort of socializing would be great. She will, like, if you had a dog here and they, I would keep her further away, obviously, but she'll forget about him after a few minutes. It's just the initial, like, basically, like, don't mess with me.
Yeah, and I would say like we can read her fairly well, but it's hard. Like when she's on a leash, it's difficult to tell if it's like I want to go play
Yeah,
versus like
gonna go
I don't like you.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
because they all kind of start
Generally-
the same.
Generally, I think she's a pretty submissive dog. Like we've had her in group like pack play situations in daycare, and her first move typically is to go on her belly. So like put her belly up. So I feel like she's generally a submissive dog, but some of those first interactions, like, okay, what's your intention here? Like, are we playing, or is this like get the hell away from me
Yeah.
situation? So
So when it comes to on-leash stuff, like I don't recommend on-leash introductions.
Yeah.
yeah,
With random dogs, if it's a dog that you know, like
Right.
let's say you have a coworker or like a relative here that have a dog,
Yeah.
like I can show how to do proper introduction.
Yeah.
Because it's an exercise that we can repeat.
Yeah.
That builds a relationship, and then over time it's like, okay, now they were off leash and they play with each
Yeah.
other, and like she looks forward to seeing that.
Yeah,
dog.
Yeah.
yeah,
But I try to remind people, if I were to bring a dog in here to introduce. You give her something to protect. So like
Yes.
earlier we said, well, I'll body block.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So to kind of teach her like I'm in charge right now.
Yeah.
Right. Which is very true.
Look-
But if I bring in and you were a lot, and let's say we're
at
not
me.
doing that because it's
Look at me.
the intention is to socialize. Well, she might take that as threatening because she's like, you're coming into my owner's space.
Yeah.
And my instinct is to protect my owner.
Yeah.
And that's where things can go south. you
Yeah.
know? So there's a way that we go about it. So that we work around that problem, but essentially like teach her like this is a dog that you can trust, and then we would build a friendship between
Yeah.
them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. For your collar, what do you have?
Oh yeah, I brought everything. What is
Okay.
this one?
Yeah. This is a mini educator.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So, when you've worked with her on that collar, what number are you at?
Typically, I just use the vibrate because she doesn't really need to be.
Have you ever used the stem?
I have.
Okay.
I used it a couple weeks ago. We were up north, and the kids were on the patio watching her swim and catch the ball and whatever. And I like looked up. They all like waved at me, and then this bird landed. And she's crazy prey drive. She pulled the bird out of the air,
Oh wow.
and I like looked over my shoulders like I hope these kids are not watching this.
Yeah.
Pulled the bird out of the air, like slammed it into the sand, and then the mom came over and like dove at her.
Wow.
And so she started chasing them, and she like
she's
full
gone.
on prey drive, ran
Yeah,
around
yeah.
the bend, couldn't see her anymore. And so I did shock her then, and I had to put it up. I had to put it up at like 40 for her to feel it because she was like
Yes.
all the way
Yeah.
focused on the bird. But if I think I just keep it around like maybe 30.
Okay.
But again, like if you vibrate it, she's immediately like stops what she's doing and comes to you. She's
Sure,
like,
sure. I got you.
don't shock me.
Yeah. So, in terms of the remote collar, all we do is stim.
Okay.
Okay. Dogs are physical creatures. They nip and bite each other as a form of communication. They use it to establish play, to initiate play. They use it as a form of correction,
Leave it.
protection, right? They even show as a sign of affection. Have you ever seen a dog
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
a nibble,
Yeah,
right?
she
They're
does
very
that.
mouth-based creatures. So here, this is a dog bite. This is 10 stitches. This is a Great Dane. Okay. Which always surprises people because everybody's like, "Oh, Great Danes can be aggressive." I'm like, any dog
Any
can
dogs.
be aggressive.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just a matter of do you put them in the context.
Right.
So what happened with this dog? This dog was not human aggressive. Is that it was his first day of his 4-week board and train. He destroyed the house, by the way. He
Wow.
chewed the doorknob. He chewed their wooden bar. He chewed up their couch so that it was all springs.
Oh my
Yikes.
God.
Unneutered, year old, no training, no discipline.
Yeah.
I bring him in, did great with the training. I started right away, but I hadn't had a dog that big, and I was in my old facility, so I had just standard wire kennels. So I just went to go see, will you fit in the kennel that I have? Okay, he didn't, for one. But then also, since he had never been crated before, he panicked.
Yeah.
So when I went to load him in, he freaked out, and his only way to stop me was, I'm gonna bite you.
Yeah.
And since
Like,
he's
hey,
a Great
I don't
Dane,
like
I
this.
couldn't avoid the bite. He just looked up and then chomped on my hand.
Yeah.
Here we are, right?
Dang.
So he came back later. I trained him, completely friendly, big goof, and I told him, while I heal up, please crate train your dog.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll get a big enough kennel for him. But he used physicality to essentially go, I don't know what you want to put me in.
Right.
I'm not familiar with
I
this.
don't like it.
I'm going to protect myself. I don't like it.
Yep.
I'm going to bite you. Okay. That's the only time he's ever bitten anybody.
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, my friend's ready for state rep and looks like he's
Hi, we're training right now.
Yeah. Good.
There you go.
Thanks.
So, the e-collar is essentially what I call a bite on the button.
Okay.
Okay. It gives us on and off leash communication instantaneously and immediately, right? So, for example, the dog's name is Ollie. He's a black pit. They want to learn how to. She's social, but she starts off here,
Yeah.
which gets her into trouble sometimes.
Yes.
Right. So I showed them
Yeah.
when we do the exercise. It's what I call the honeymoon phase, where they start up here, but eventually it drops down.
Yeah.
But then sometimes things can happen here too, because they're relaxed and they're like, wait, you're too much energy.
Yeah.
You know. So I told them your e-collar, if she's playing with the dog and she starts to escalate beyond that 4 to 5 that we allow, when we tap on the collar, it should de-escalate. Not deter her from playing. It may in the beginning, but once she understands, oh, you just don't want me to be up here.
Up here.
Right.
That would be
It-
awesome.
Yeah.
Because that's what another dog would do,
Yep.
right? And you may have seen this, like where dogs are playing and
Yep.
you see one nip and
Totally.
then like they kind of shake it off
Yep.
and they might play again or they might just go off and do their own thing.
Yep.
Except we're doing it for them.
Okay.
The vibration is a neutral. It can be effective for a period, and then eventually you start to realize or you start to see the dog no longer cares about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's because there is no discomfort to it.
Yeah.
Right? So a dog bite is uncomfortable, right? And it may not puncture, it could just be a quick pinch of the skin, but there's some discomfort there that goes, hey, stop what you're doing, tone it down, or whatever that is, whatever the communication they're trying to get across.
Yeah.
Right? So the only time I use the vibration or the tone is to check if the collar is on.
Okay.
Okay? Because sometimes if I know a dog's number is 30 and then I'm at 100 and I'm like, they're not feeling anything,
Yeah.
I'll grab the collar, I'll hit the vibrate, oh, I forgot to power it on, it died, right?
Yeah.
These things happen, or it's just really bad contact. I adjust the collar, I recalibrate.
Yeah.
Right? But that's really the only time we use vibration. I've also used it for deaf dogs because they don't have sound.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't, in my opinion, it has no basis for training. The other thing is some clients come from vibrate, or it'll be command vibrate stem. Okay, I don't like that either because there's delay,
Yeah.
right? Because the dog's like, all right, I heard the cue,
Yeah.
I got
I
a few
think already.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
then the vibrate, okay, got a few more seconds, okay, now you're going to stim me.
Right.
So if a dog is like running towards the street,
Thank you.
I don't want delay.
Yeah.
I want the moment I give you the command, you're going to 180 and
something,
return
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Exactly. When we're dealing with behavior. And a dog's thinking, do I want to bite you or not bite you? I don't want delay.
Right.
I'm not going to bite you.
Yeah.
You see that? So that's why we remove those things. I have another client, I trained their 2 dogs with the board and train. They came from another board and train. And when we were doing the consult, he was like using all these different approaches to address his dog's reactivity. And he had the e-collar. And then he's like, he had all these delays. Essentially, he had like 5 delays before he would actually use it. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's why you're having problems
Yeah.
with your dog.
Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
when I did the training, and he's like, he emailed me. He's like,
No, no.
hey, he's like, you're using the e-collar like immediately. I go, yes.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't have the reactivity here. You know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of unlearning of a lot of bad habits. You have a lot of good habits. I can tell you that from what you've been telling me. And there's just a few of them that they're not necessarily bad, but
Yeah.
they're
We could-
not helping.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay. So like right now, like, and this is okay, right? But you see how she's not relaxed yet,
Yeah.
right? So I would gamble on the second class of e-collar. You would come here and then she'd be laying at your feet calm. Okay. So this is a little bit of overstimulation.
Yeah.
She's not able to relax.
Yeah.
Right, because there's a lot of things going on, which is it's fairly normal, especially with pitties. But if I had my pit here, she would just be like, right, because that's what the energy is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, we're not doing anything, we're not engaging. She's like, okay, well, I'm on the leash. I know you didn't say break, which is my release cue. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to default into calmness.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's something that's created through the remote collar structure, consequence, holding the dog accountable, all those things, as they start to become calmer. Because right now there's a lot of options here for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why she's like, okay, I'm bored. I'm going to go over here. Or I'm
Yep.
going to pull over here.
Yeah.
Or what's the scent here? Or what's that bird over there? Right?
Totally.
So once you start to remove those things, it starts to help the dog settle. And then they realize like, oh, these things don't matter unless I'm given permission to actually interact with those things.
Yep.
Okay.
Love that.
So that's kind of like the behavioral stuff. The other thing about a dog that's more passive is they become what we call like a thinking dog. So an excited dog is a reactive dog, and then a calm dog is a thinking dog. That's a saying that we have in the dog training world. Okay. Because an excited dog is already like on threshold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like ready. Yeah.
And then when you
Cup
add
is
in
full.
a stressor,
yeah.
we get the trigger.
Yeah.
Right? We get the reaction. So when the dog is calmer and things start to happen, you start to see more steps.
Interesting. Yeah.
Right?
No.
Before the
Leave it.
actual escalation
Yeah.
that we can actually cut in way
Luna,
before
leave it.
the reactivity happens. That's exactly like with Ollie. I just keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
Because he was that exact thing.
Yeah.
And the owners were doing a lot of agility. They were doing scent work with her.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing all these things. And like Jessie, like she just constantly has energy to do stuff. And like it's not energy. It's
Stress.
overstimulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're constantly doing with stuff with her because you're trying to meet this need, but
Yeah.
really you've just created more need for more stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So when we did e-collar heel the first day, and they came back to the next class, she was just like that. And
Yeah.
she's like, Jessie, this is crazy. Like she's so calm now. I go,
Yeah.
right. It's like it's opposite to how the humans think. Rules are what help the dog be calm.
Yeah.
You have to remove options,
Mhm.
right? Otherwise they become overwhelmed and then they're stressed because excitement to a degree is stress.
Yes.
And then if you add something they don't like a dog coming towards you or a person reaching in the pet, more likely to see escalation.
Yeah.
Okay?
Makes sense.
Questions on any of that stuff?
No, that
No.
makes perfect sense.
So for your collar, just as a FYI,
Mm-hmm.
that's meant for a 35-pound dog and under. Okay? So that's why it's called the mini educator. Okay?
Well, we got it when she was like 35-ish pounds, and the
Makes
vet
sense.
was like, she's not going to get any bigger.
Yeah.
And then
now here
she's
she is.
80
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah. So I always tell when I train smaller dogs, like if I think they might become bigger, like I'll just tell clients like get the bigger collar so
Yeah.
they grow into it. You
Yeah.
don't have to worry about investing
We
another
grew out of it.
$200 to $300
Yeah.
or whatever. So the only things that I would note about this and what this means is there are different output tiers,
Mm-hmm.
low, medium, high, to make things simple. Okay, so that would be a low output collar.
Mm-hmm.
So when you said like, oh, I had to go to 40 for the bird and stuff, I go, okay, cool, that's not too bad. Okay, but I've had dogs, normally pits or power breeds,
Yeah.
where it's like your max power and you can tell they feel it and they don't care about
Yeah.
it.
She's definitely, unfortunately, I've had it up pretty high
If
before.
she's fired up, she doesn't give a shit.
She does not even
Yes.
notice it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd highly recommend that you upgrade to the appropriate collar.
Okay.
Okay.
It's meant for a 70-pound dog and over.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly safe to use. I could put on my 8-pound Chihuahua. It just means I get more from less.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just it's more output because it's meant for a larger dog.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So then if we come across a situation
No.
where yeah, I
Nope.
can see a little bit of focus here.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Where we need to cut through, we're going to have a much higher probability because we
Luna,
have the appropriate collar.
look at me.
Yep.
Okay. I've also had dogs
girl.
override even a high-powered collar at max, and then we go to 2 collars. Okay. So everybody has a breaking point, and that's a very, very rare, very
Yeah.
rare case. Okay. So like Bush, who's the Saint Bernard that I mentioned earlier with the owner going into a group, I told her because he did max out the collar one time. I told her, hey, this happened, which I brought up in the consult because he's a 150-pound dog.
Oh my God.
So that's a dog that I
Beast.
would anticipate that may need a second collar because of his sheer size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, he's been doing great with one. But I always put it in the person's brain because if we end up in that worst case scenario, it's not like a shock to the system. They're like, well, Jessie did say this was a possibility because it's a 150-pound dog.
Yeah.
Okay. The other times I've had to do it have generally been pits. You know, they're bred for fighting.
Yeah.
They're bred to take pain and discomfort because
Yeah.
if they can't, well, then they're going to be a bad fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so again, that's just FYI. But we always start with what I would recommend, like the high-powered system, and see what we get with it. 99% of the time, it's completely fine.
Yeah.
Okay. But those are just things that I anticipate because we have, if the dog's in an aggressive state, we have adrenaline. It's kind of like if you've ever been in
Yeah.
a fight, you
Yeah.
get punched, you don't feel it,
Yep.
and then afterwards,
Unfortunately,
oh my
yes.
God. Yes. So it's the same thing for the dog. When they're in it, and then,
Yeah.
and then if their breed is genetically bred to like take pain and discomfort, like you're gonna be up
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
Yeah.
You know, so because people get surprised and they're like, "Wow, Jessie, is this normal?" I'm like, "Well, not really, but for what we're dealing with, yes."
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes total
Makes
sense.
sense.
And we've learned with her, like, you can't like coo her into doing anything. Like if you need her to do something, you got to get kind of physical with her and like move her physically. It's okay.
So, yep.
Lou.
But you see how she's what I would call passive alert,
Yeah.
right? So like she's still fairly calm, but she's also like just on that edge. And this is like for me, this is okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you get the system through us, you get 10% off. Our clients get 10% off all our stuff, our retail and everything like that. I don't care where you get it from, but I do care that you get the appropriate model and the one that I recommend.
Okay.
Because people, of course, do research and they come up, they show up to the first class with a collar that's the same thing, it's the same equivalent, right? And they're like, oh, this was like $200 cheaper. I'm like, that is not the correct system.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then they're off having to return it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. We should have the right one anyways.
Yeah.
But, okay, so then when it comes down to what I would recommend, okay, so I'm assuming you want in person, right? And in person is the best because I'm training you to train your dog.
Yep.
You learn so much more. The con is it's just a slower progress, okay? We have to go over heel. It's essential to e-collar conditioning, okay? That typically takes 2 classes. Then we see what changes, right? So like let's say I have a case that's very reactive. We start with heel, that's the baseline. And I go, come back in a week, and then we're gonna see how the reactivity was impacted. Sometimes they come back and like 80% of the reactivity is done.
Gone, yeah.
Yes, okay. Heel fixes a majority of the problem.
Yeah.
In other cases, they're like, my dog's reactivity is like 10% better. I'm like, all right, 10% is better than 0%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other cases, it is 0. I go, no problem. It just tells me that for my second class, I need to make some adjustments.
Yeah.
And then we do the same thing. They rinse and repeat. They come back a week later. They give me feedback. And then depending what they tell me, kind of tells me where I need to go in terms of the approach.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, let's say, I'm going to assume for her, it's probably going to go right away.
Yeah.
Okay, because if you've been here for a month and she's had 5 to 10 instances of reactivity and stuff, and right now, like, we're seeing dogs and people, she's interested, but it's like, okay, but you're not lunging and barking.
Yeah.
Right.
I get clients here where we can't even have a conversation
Yeah.
because the dog's so reactive.
We were definitely more like that the first week we were here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it sounds like she was just stressed out.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the only difference would be if I had trained with you when you were in the suburbs, and then you came here, your transition would have been a lot faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you would have structure.
Yeah.
Right. She's just going into what I said, 2 to 4 weeks to acclimate to the new environment, and then now her stress levels are starting to come down.
Yeah.
Naturally.
And she's
Okay.
been sick too, so she's
Yeah.
like,
The other thing I'd suggest covering is a recall formally. Okay, so that last thing you want is you're at the park, someone blows up a firework, and then she takes off on you.
Yeah.
That's like the most common thing that happens.
Yeah.
You know, it's like in the middle of October, and you're at the park with your dog, and then
Yeah.
some kid blows up a firework, and then she's taking off. Like anytime that's happened to a client, almost always they have to be max power and continuous because they're trying to make the dog more scared of running away from them than
Yeah.
they are about running
Of
from
the
the
fire,
firework.
yeah.
Exactly. Okay. The next thing would most likely be like place command, which is just stationary control. This is just like the obedience that I feel like every dog should need.
yeah.
So
She does place. It's a little rusty, but she actually still will do it. Like if there's a mat or something and you need her to go somewhere, you can point at it and she'll go on.
what's the longest she'll stay there?
Used to be so good, but it's probably a minute or so best right now
yeah.
because we just don't use it that much anymore.
Yeah.
When we first got her, we were really strict on place. Now she doesn't. There's no stay command. It's like if you're sitting, you should stay seated until you're told you can get up.
Correct,
Type
yeah,
deal.
implied, yeah.
And she's pretty good about all that. In the suburbs in our house, we were like, we don't really need the place as much, but I can still use it.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
The reason why we want these things is people tend to go by, my dog's a good dog, except when they're not. So that's the only time I need the control. right?
Facts.
And I go, right, but if your dog is doing what they want all the time,
Yeah.
and that 2% of the time where it's like, I need you to stop doing what you're doing, it's
They're
not going to work.
listen.
Yeah.
Because they do what they want 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So when we walk our dog in the heel, most people walk the dog 3 times a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 times a day that I can practice. I'm going to tell you what to do,
Mm-hmm.
but then I will give you freedom, right? Or it's like we're in the home, we're watching TV, but I want you to place for 2 hours because typically dogs do whatever they want
Yeah.
in the home.
Yeah.
I'm like, right, but you're teaching the dog. There will be times I will tell you to do something, and I expect you to do it.
Yeah.
So then, when the day happens where it's like, oh crap, I need you to stop that thing.
Yeah.
The dog's gonna stop it and listen because they're used to listening in other contexts.
It's okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, if we allow our dog to do whatever they want all the time, that's what you get.
Yeah.
But when you get a dog that you tell what to do, and then you give them permission to do the things that they want, like chase a bird or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Now we get a dog that's obedient, that looks for direction, okay? And it happens a lot. People make progress, even with my clients, and they become lenient on things,
Yeah.
right? They're like, and then all of a sudden things start to come back.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they email me, Jesse, this and that. I'm like, well, have you been doing this and that, whatever? And they go, no, well, the dog was being so good, we didn't think we need to do it anymore. I'm like,
Yeah.
the dog was being good because you were doing everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So true.
Dogs, there's a myth of, or like a saying of when the dog learns to be a good dog, That's not a thing.
Yeah.
That's a human thing
Yeah.
that we've created. Okay. I tell everybody, your dog is being a good dog because you're doing a good job about reinforcing the structure, the rules, the boundaries, holding them accountable, correcting them when they make a mistake, all those things. And then the dog's like, okay, you're very consistent, and in return, I'm going to give you consistent well behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah,
as well.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay?
that totally makes
so
sense.
it's a lifestyle essentially. It's like being a parent.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Can't really take days off.
You're
Yeah.
essentially, fur mom and fur dad. You know,
Yep.
for the rest of her life. Do you know what a dog's learning capacity is?
Their whole life?
No, do you know what they're
Oh,
like where they cap at in
No.
human
No.
terms? Toddler,
okay.
2 to 3 year old child. Okay, that is their learning capacity.
Check it
So
out.
she will never one day mature.
Right.
Hey, let me go get a job. Let me go contribute. Right? She is forever
Wish
a
she
toddler, and you have to tell a toddler what to do all the time.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about dogs is because we use consequence with the training, she will learn. Okay, reactivity is not good because there's a consequence. If I ignore the command, there'll be a consequence, right? So it's going to make her more reliable in those senses, but you still have to be on top of her because one day
Right.
she can go, you know what? I really want to be reactive right now,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, no, you're not. 6 months later, right? Like that's just part of the process.
Yep.
I have my own pit. She's 15 years old now. I've had her since she was 3 months. In the 1 month that she had left the breeder, she went to 3 homes.
Wow.
I'm her 4th home.
Aw,
Yeah,
sweetie.
she was a little terror.
Yeah.
But with me, she is a great dog. Okay.
Good.
In the 15 years that I've had her, she's had about 5 moments of reactivity, seemingly out of like random that even I
Thank you.
couldn't figure out why it happened because I was like, you're
Okay.
never reactive. But I didn't care. I just corrected it, and then
That's it.
life went on.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the beginning, I tell clients, because I get somber, it's reactivity all the time, every walk. They have to go at 2 o'clock in the morning. They have to take the
Oh, wow.
stairs instead of the elevator.
Yeah.
Right. But then with the training, they're like, I can take the elevator now. I can take my dog, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when everybody's coming home from work, and my dog is fine now.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like 9 months later, there's a reactive moment, and they correct it. And like, no dog's perfect.
Yeah.
But now you have the tools, of course, to be able to stop and de-escalate things very effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I suggest plays because it gives you something to practice within the home. If you want to sit down and stay, like if you wanted everything to be completely off leash, like I do that too. But those 3 things, what I call like the trifecta of dog training: walk with me, come to me, and don't move.
Yeah.
Will allow you to do a lot with her.
Perfect.
The how to socialize her with another dog typically takes a class
Yeah.
because I'm showing you how to do it correctly, and then you simply rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Okay. The best way is if you have a friend again with the dog or something like that, because you get to repeat this exercise. You could do it with me, 20 times, but it's still not going to be that beneficial if you're trying to do it with like a separate dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
Yeah.
it's only good with the dogs that you're actively using, which is why I always tell people, if you have a friend, do it, because then you can just pick up off of where we left
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
in the lesson.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Okay.
If you want to learn about bringing her into a group of dogs and stuff like that, I can help with that as well. First, we start with how to introduce correctly, right? Go off and do that for a bit, and then we can do dog introduction, like in a group or whatever, like I
Okay.
did with the lady with the Saint Bernard. Okay, and then things to watch for, how to advocate for dogs. The difference is, like, if you're in a setting like this where there's dogs off leash, because that's typically where they go, is people think it's weird if you step in to correct the dog,
Yeah.
right? Whereas for me, it's normal. Like, you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The humans should
You
do
should
that.
still be helping them. while
Because
they're
if the
off leash.
dogs are in the thought process of we correct each other, that's how fights happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how dogs kill dogs, and that does happen.
Yeah.
But if the humans are stepping in and establishing the rules and boundaries, the dog's like, all right, this isn't on us.
Yeah.
It's like with kids. If you have a group of kids, I don't leave it to the kids
Yeah.
to establish the rules. Like, the humans are the ones that are overseeing that,
Yeah.
right? But it is a very common thing that you'll come across. It's like, oh, just let them sort it out. I'm like, nah, because that's how you end up with a dog fight, and then
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
bills and vet visits and all that stuff from that. Okay. People coming over, you said she's completely fine with. I think the 2 moments you noted with the realtor, I think was most likely because of the papers. She thought it was male or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the other one with the eyesight person, I go, that makes complete sense to
Yeah.
me. That's more. I think if they would have just minded their business and kept going,
She wouldn't have
nothing would
cared.
happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely true.
So so I don't really consider that barrier or aggression because
Okay.
that person actively did something which triggered her.
Yeah.
Okay. So at minimum, I would put you at 6. 9 is a nice little buffer if you want the extra classes to be able to cover more stuff. If there's more things that pop up, or things behaviorally, like you want to work on how to introduce her to a kid. Like if
Yeah.
I can do that.
Leave it.
The more you want, obviously, the longer the program
Oh, no,
is
look at me.
going to be. Okay.
Yep.
But at a baseline, from what I'm hearing so far, because you guys have already done a lot on your own,
No.
which is why
Come here.
I'm suggesting a shorter time.
Yeah.
Okay. 6 is like the bare minimum. 9 is like you want the extra classes just in case you want to cover more stuff. 12 is like we want a completely off-leash train, a formally e-collar off-leash trained dog. So that means all the commands plus the behavioral stuff. I think, and the behavior is a variable. I'm assuming it's going to be straightforward from what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been wrong in the past, but
She
seems
learns
pretty good
so
right now.
fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but when I get cases where the behavior is like it's work, it takes up more of the classes that we would use for obedience. So they don't get as far obedience-wise.
Yeah.
But behaviorally is what we're focused on. Like that's what they really care about.
Yeah.
I care about heel, recall. Those are always the 2 most important in my opinion. Place is the 3rd, and then behavior is next.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you wanted everything, like she's completely off these trained, we don't have to worry about any of that stuff, and then also the behavior, then 12 is like the kind of like we'll get everything done.
Yeah.
Okay. Now do keep in mind, I can only take you as far as you're willing to go. Again, I think this is going to be straightforward, but I get clients who are like, they don't like that the number is 60, right? And they're always at 40.
Yeah.
And they wonder why the dog's still reactive. And I'm
Yeah.
like, because your dog needs 60 and you're not willing to go to 60.
Yeah.
Right? So
Okay.
that's them limiting themselves.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I've been to 127. They've even double colored dogs. I will get it. It's just a matter, is the human going to then follow through
Yeah.
and do
And
the
keep it
homework,
consistent.
okay? But otherwise, it's fairly straightforward.
Okay.
Other questions?
No, I mean, I think that all sounds really good. We do travel a lot, so we're looking for somewhere where we can board her. And we had a sweet setup in Michigan. She had her own run. She shared a fence with dogs, but they never did like group play, which I'm totally cool with. I don't know if you have any suggestions of like where to go on that for, or if you guys do something like that. Okay, cool. Because
we welcome any dogs that we've trained as long as they met the minimum requirement. Minimum requirement would be 6 weeks in person and or a 2 week board and train.
Okay.
We do a 3-day evaluation. I suggest, even though we've trained the dog, that they still do at least 2 to 3 days, because any time in the past where we've had an issue with the dog that I've trained, they were just dropped off.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of stress on the dog.
Yeah.
And I just had this happen this past week, and I'm like, that's why I don't like doing this.
Yeah.
The dog overnight, the first night that she was with us, chewed up a part of her skin off.
Oh, sweetie.
Yes, and the owner was like in Vegas or something for like work for a whole week. And then, you know, it didn't get infected. We told the owner, and she's like, well, I got a vet visit when I come back. Can we just wait? I'm like, well, I'll let you know if it gets infected, but probably needs to go to the vet.
Yeah.
That's your judgment call there,
Yeah.
right?
Dang.
But we tell clients at least 2 to 3 days, because then it allows the dog to come to us, and then they get picked up later on.
Yeah.
So they're not just like abandoned,
Yeah.
so to
Right.
speak.
Yeah.
Okay. Dogs that we've not trained, just as FYI, they're expected to do daycare once a week to keep with our structure and to keep familiar with our structure, because we used to also be lenient on that.
Yeah.
And then when we would see them 6 months later, they would destroy
Everything.
kennel beds
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I was like, okay, no, they need to come to us once a week.
Yeah.
Dogs that we've trained, because we're on the same wavelength in terms of discipline and the e-collar and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Why?
So
Hey.
here, pull in, and you're gonna pull up, and now relax.
Leave
Because
it.
we don't have that issue, okay? And I get clients that live like in St. Charles, Winnetka, Skokie, which are like hour and a half, 2
Yeah.
hours away out
Yeah.
the city. Like, I don't expect them to come once a week for daycare.
Right.
But
Yeah.
they've trained with us. So I was like, yeah, bring your dogs whenever you need to board them, not a problem. Any dog that we see as a new dog, we do require a fresh fecal. That's not required until you're gonna board her.
Okay.
Okay, so let's
Leave
say
it.
she's gonna board September 30th.
Leave it.
We say a week before,
Got
because
Leave
we've
it.
had it happen
Good
where
girl.
a client gave us a fresh fecal. So this actually happened. They gave us the fecal, they had it done Thursday, they got it Friday, they dropped the dogs off Saturday, everything was clear. Sunday, their poop was infested with worms.
Ooh.
And then the vet said that when they did the fecal, it may have been during an incubation period. So it doesn't pick up like,
Oof.
the eggs
Nasty.
and stuff. Yes. So and they were in the UK, they were in out the country.
Oh,
Yikes.
God.
So I was like, no worries, we'll just isolate. We have 18,000 square feet of space. We can keep them separated from the other dogs, all that stuff. But we have to like disinfect and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But that's why we do the week before, because it
Yeah.
takes approximately a week, if they're in the incubation period, for it to crop up between the test and then the boarding
Okay.
stay.
Yeah.
Okay. Our rule is if we've not seen a dog in 3 months, we require a new fecal. In the city of Chicago, you'll come to learn Giardia is pretty common.
Okay.
Because of the poop. You got rat poop, and then you got poop
Goose
from other
poop,
animals
yeah.
and stuff
whatever.
like that. So if she
Leave it.
goes and she eats something, she might get it from whatever she ingested.
Okay.
We've caught so many cases of Giardia because of that. People are always like 3 months. That seems so short because most places are a year. I'm like, right, but you could take your fecal, right? You're good for 6 months, and then your dog eats something, and now they got Giardia, and then we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so that's our thing. But if we see them once every 3 months, and it can be arbitrary, but we need a structure, you know, is that we look at the poop, and a lot of times we can see and go like, we think this dog is sick.
Yeah.
And then we'll just tell them, go get a fresh fecal because your dog still looks a little suspicious.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, it's like Giardia. You know, when you see lots of dogs poops multiple times a day over the course of 5 years, you start to come to learn to spot things. So, but yeah, that's our rule of thumb. So you won't need that until you're actually going to boarder or
Okay.
do the evaluation.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and we tell clients, if you got to do a fecal, just hold off on it.
Yeah.
Until you have to board the dog anyways.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter to the vet. It
Yeah.
matters to us.
Yeah.
We're actually
Yeah.
going to keep the dog.
Okay.
Okay.
But yes, any dogs that we've trained are welcome to stay with us. We don't hold them to any kind of weekly thing or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions?
You have any other questions?
I don't think so.
And we will
No.
try to introduce her to group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
We got-
been in group. She's been, they did like literally 30 dogs.
Yeah, we don't do that.
And she would be bottom of the food chain, and then she would, you know, fight back at some point. Like, I don't want to be the bottom of the food chain.
Yep,
And
straight up.
every time they would be like,
There you go.
well,
Relax.
I don't think we should have your dog in group anymore. I'm like, I just didn't think that they were trained
not
enough to be, yeah. It just
We
didn't
don't
seem like
do
a safe
30,
scenario.
we do like 8 to 12.
Yeah.
And if we have like a dog that's a gladiator player, we'll pair them with another one,
Yeah.
and they'll have their own little pen.
Yeah.
Because it's just too much energy.
That'd be you.
You know, but we know that
Need
they
to be
want
you.
to outlet that play.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we don't let dogs go beyond a 4. So if you ever come to the facility, there could be 50 dogs there, and you wouldn't even know it.
That's awesome.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
You know, and the clients are always like, "Is there dogs here?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like all behind that wall right there. But when they play, it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's when we let things go over 5 is where things escalate to dog fights and
Yeah.
scuffles and things like that.
Okay.
And it's not that it never happens. It's just very, very rare
Yeah.
that it happens.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, we'd introduce her, see who she vibes with, who she doesn't vibe
Okay.
with. And then from there, we can't guarantee it'll happen right away.
Yeah.
Some dogs, it can take a few tries. Other dogs, I had one dog in particular, it took like literally 30 times.
Wow.
Because the owner was to bring the dog every day.
Yeah.
And this dog was a big player at the previous daycare. So then they came to us and she's like, why is he not wanting to play here? I'm like, well, because there's rules here.
Yeah.
So now the dog's like, well, what can I do here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it took him a long time, but then once he got it, he's like, okay, and then he became a big player. So
Yeah, I
every
think
dog
that's
is
great.
different. We get a lot of dogs that can only come to us because they were booted out from other kennels because, again, it wasn't regulated. They had
Yeah.
30 dogs. in
I mean, they
the
just
room.
have random people overseeing that are
Yes.
not trained in dogs.
Yes.
You're like,
Yeah.
this isn't a good
I
situation.
had an ex-girlfriend who worked at his daycare. Her first day, they threw her into a pen with 30 dogs.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's like, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Oh,
I don't think so.
No,
Not
I
for
don't.
me. Yeah, it's super helpful.
We are going out of town next weekend, and I haven't found her a boarding spot yet. It's too soon, obviously, for her to go with you. Do you have a recommendation of somewhere that you trust that we can send her to?
There's one place that I used to recommend, and then I heard stuff, so I stopped recommending them.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, they require you to train with them. Like they'll
Okay.
make you do a 4-week board and train
Yeah.
in order to board.
Okay.
What we could do? When is your date to?
Friday. We're leaving Friday to Sunday. It's just a quick wedding weekend.
What we could do, what we've done in the past, is as long as it wasn't blatant issues. Like if like this to me, I'm like, okay, I know what we're dealing with here. I'm not worried about this. Is if you're able to get in a class and in a couple of days of the eval, we would be able to take her by Friday.
Okay.
Okay, it literally just takes a class to lay her in
Yeah.
the collar to get her to understand it.
Okay.
Because I'm not worried about her.
Yeah.
Dog issues are easier than people issues, right? If you're like, oh, this dog, like nobody can handle her, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's a bit different because
Yeah.
now my staff has to handle this dog.
Yeah.
And if the dog's not muzzle conditioned as well, I'm like, that's also another problem.
Yeah.
Because we require any dogs with human aggression or reactivity to be muzzle conditioned. Because if they're in a new environment, it's going to be stressful.
Yeah.
So it just takes off something to
Yeah.
have to worry about.
gonna hate
and
that.
you technically would have enough time to drop off the fecal to get it
Yeah.
yeah. done.
Okay.
So we could do that. The only other thing I would say you could try looking into would be like home sitters
Yeah.
or stuff like that.
That's also kind of risky. Though.
Yeah, that's the only thing is unfortunately it could be a college kid that's just doing it for cash and
Right.
doesn't know dog behavior.
Yeah.
You know, I've had clients use the WAG app or whatever,
Yeah.
and then there's been things with that too.
Right.
So it's kind of
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's definitely risky.
Okay.
But that's what I would do. And that we've done that in the past for dogs that I thought were fairly easy. And and she's one that I would consider easy. Okay.
Look at you.
Helpful.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So then the next steps would be you can reach out to Tina. You could tell her, hey, sign us up. And if you're like, yeah, we need to board her too, you can send her like the email and say like, hey, Jesse okayed this, and say we just need to do these things, and then she'll get that process going. Is if you want to expedite things, you can send her your schedules.
Okay.
Right, that you'd both be available.
Okay.
Because that's gonna be the first thing she asks. She'll send you a contract.
Yeah.
She'll actually send you if you need to board her, it's called Ginger. It's our software.
Yeah.
And our contract is in there too, so you just need to create a profile and everything.
Okay.
But then she'll take your schedule and look at my schedule this coming week to see like, well, where can I fit you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Try to get you in, and that'll just help expedite things. We are paying full to start our program. We do payment plans, but then we don't start until the program's paid for. So, which obviously there's no time for that here.
Yeah.
Minimum will be 6, and then 6 is of course a minimum to be able to board dogs without needing to meet the daily, not daily but weekly daycare requirement. But
I mean,
if
we
you
could
wanted,
use a weekly anyways, because we usually have one day where both of us are out of pocket.
Yeah.
and we do transport as well.
Do you?
We offer transport as well.
Sick.
Just heads up on that, yeah. But yeah, if you want to be like a fully trained, like okay, cool, she's got everything on the e-collar stuff like that. Don't have to worry about it. 12 is the max. 9 is like right in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then the collar, which Tina will send you the information on.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions?
I think
No.
that's it.
Yeah.
Super helpful.
Appreciate
Yeah.
your time.
Well, it was
very
nice
helpful.
meeting you.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, pleasure
Thank
talking
you.
to you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Jeffrey and Jackie.
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
And I'll grab your mics.
Oh yeah.
And Tina's pretty quick, so if you like, she's turns people around like in a day. So
Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, she's been really helpful.
she's my mom.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And you'll probably come to communications with Maria, who's my aunt, and then Elizabeth is my wife.
That's great.
So it's a little family business.
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome, guys. Pleasure meeting you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, okay?